set the millage. And I'm very supportive of education in our public schools. And so I want to give the most that we can with the millage, and I think county council's actually been doing that. So our involvement with actually what takes place in the schools is very limited because of the school boards. We'd be stepping on the school board's toes. That's why we have a school board, you see. But we give the money to the school board determines what they're going to do with it. We have no say. And if as a county council we come in and start saying, well, we want this, that, and the other, we're stepping on the school board's toes. I mean, we don't have to listen to us. So I guess the only thing that I can see is what we've been talking about as far as trying to get some programs going for kids. But we need the school board's cooperation. Who are the children? The teachers know who are the children that need help. We don't have a good family structure just for dealing with them every day. You see what I'm saying? So more it's working together to identify the children who need some assistance. But as far as actually going to schools, we couldn't do that. We just fund some community schools. Okay. Yeah.
Columbia doesn't seem to have much of a commercial job space. What can the city do to change it?
Commercial job space. Just recruit business. And here's the thing is, a lot of times you might hear the mayor talk about building an industrial park. Well, if there's very limited space within the city limits of Columbia, and it's an urban setting. So really the only place you can get a large tract of land to do an industrial park is going to be in the county. But it's the same thing, is that we are joined at the hip. If the city does well, the county's going to do well. If the county does well, the city does well. And so county council has actually purchased a plot of land, and we're looking at going to get into industrial park. But if you go downtown city of Columbia, I mean, if you're looking for a huge tract of land for an industrial park, I mean, I don't know where you're going to find it. You'd have to go into the county limits where there's much more space. You see what I'm saying? I guess my answer is the county's working into it, and if there were to be an industrial park, in my view, it would have to be in the county, not the city.
The Columbia Police Department seems to have an evolving door with its leadership. Having the causes of led to the high turnover rate in the leadership at the city police department.
Yeah, Chief Scott's doing a great job in my view. I've gotten to know him very well. I've been going to a lot of neighborhood meetings, and I get to know him at the neighborhood meetings. I work a lot with the city of Columbia because the neighborhoods I represent are within the city limits of Columbia, and I meet the officers at the neighborhood meetings. I know most of them just being a prosecutor, and you can get a sense when you're talking, you get to know an officer. And so you feel like he's not going to necessarily hold back on you. You get a sense of where the department's at. And there's an overwhelming sense within the city of Columbia Police Department that Chief Scott's the man and they're behind you. And that's a great, great sign. Additionally, I think it's great that Chief Scott worked for the sheriff. And the reason being is we haven't had a good working relationship between Sheriff Lott necessarily and the City of Columbia Police Department. But I see that now because he's friends with Chief Scott. He used to be Chief Scott's boss. They like each other. They naturally, that's just common sense. If you're good friends with somebody, it's easier to work together. And so that's something that's really a positive sign as well. So I think there's great strides right now, and nothing happens overnight, but there's extremely positive strides on the police department.
What plans does the county council have for making our river front more attractive to the community use? We have these serious meetings for turning the river front into an area more community friendly, like public access, parks, fountains, recreation areas, not just building condos.
Yeah. Well, the River Alliance, I've actually, when you get on county council, you have a lot of different boards that you sign up to be on. fill out a sheets, and I'd like to be on this one, chair picks who gets what. I got put on the River Alliance, Mike Dawson is over that, and, they've been working with Lexington County as well, and they've got a lot of trails. I mean, you go downtown Columbia, there's a lot of trails along the river. The problem, in my view, again, goes back to public safety. Do I feel comfortable with my wife going by herself down there, by herself? So to me, it's more of making sure that we have safety. You can't just put trails in and not make them safe. And maybe there's a belief that they are safe. Just for me personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable with my wife going back there. I think there has been a very good effort to put the trails in. I'd like to see some improvement with the public safety aspect, and Inna Vista would help Columbia use the city. Inna Vista would help Columbia use the river to a much greater degree. You might be able to eat dinner on a rooftop, look out over the river, things like that. There might be some lodging. And Inna Vista has a huge park. If you actually see the outlines, they actually have a huge green space. Because their idea, and it's been endorsed by environmentalists, not just the development community, but also environmentalists. They have this huge green space where people can take their dogs or their children, things like that. So Inna Vista would address a lot of that as far as maximizing the city of Columbia's use of the river. But I do think with trails and things like that, there's been a lot of headway through the River Alliance. I like to see them safe. Okay.
Hello, my name is Kenan, and my fellow classmates are excited about public service and being able to influence public policy. What advice can you give us to help us move in that direction?
Vote, get involved. One of the things that I've seen, and when I say get involved, I'm like, everyone lives in a neighborhood, right? More often than not, your neighborhood has a neighborhood council. And if they don't have a neighborhood council, guess what you can do? You can form one. And do you know what elected officials do when they want to run for office? They find out who the neighborhood presidents are, because neighborhood presidents are going to know a lot of people. And, they're going to call, what was your name again? Kenny. Someone said, Kenneth, I'm running for X. And I understand you're the president of such and such neighborhood. I'd like to come speak at your neighborhood meeting. And that gives you a say, a voice. If you get some endorsement from the neighborhood president, and you're not working hard going door to door, but someone gets a flyer saying such and such neighborhood president, Dutch Fork neighborhood president, Kenny endorses candidate X, right? Or he puts a list of names on there that say, that candidate must be for us, if Kenny's doing it. So get involved. Do you have a neighborhood association? If you don't, start one. They have members of the council. Call and say, what do I need to do? Start one of the meetings. Find out what the needs are. Register to vote. Vote. Get your friends to vote. Get your family to vote. If there's a campaign you believe in for a candidate, help out.